People expect movies to be scary, but the scare is only supposed to remain within the movie. What happens when the movie becomes a scary reality? Many of you probably enjoy watching scary movies, but further understanding their hidden stories can develop a whole new experience for watching them. Off-screen curses can add to the overall scare factor of horror films. To illustrate this, we will look at the deaths in abnormal circumstances from the movies Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, and Poltergeist. To begin, Rosemary's Baby had a few deaths and events that catered to the making of the movie. The movie was actually based off the writer's wife's death. According to VanityFair.com, it says, he was sort of taking notes, he said, of his wife's progress alongside Rosemary's, but flatly refused to let her read the manuscripts. His wife's name was Sharon Tate, and she was murdered by the Manson family while she was 8 months pregnant. The Manson family wanted to get revenge on everyone in the house because the producer was in there where he didn't get a record deal. This later became the whole basis behind the movie. A composer named Komeda fell off a cliff in Los Angeles, and he only woke up 2 months later to the sound of Rosemary's Lullaby, which he composed. William Castle, who was the producer, made remarks about how the movie was cursed. During the premiere of the movie, he developed kidney stones after receiving lots of hate mail. The second horror film to be released is The Exorcist. The Exorcist had a lot of injuries and accidents which added to the overall effect of the movie. Linda Baer, who played Regan, throws Ellen Burstyn, who plays her mother, to the ground. According to GroovyHistory.com, the sounds and screams in the film were her actual cries from her being hurt. She received permanent damage to her spine because of this injury. Linda Baer permanently suffered from an injury when her rigging broke during the exorcism scene. During filming, a pigeon flew into the circuit box, which caused a fire, except in the scene where the exorcism occurs. A misfired projectile in the vomiting scene caused it to only take one take because they didn't want anyone else to get injured. Other crew members who faced injury and death were a carpenter who cut off his thumb, a janitor who died 2 months after the film, and a light technician who lost his toe. The opening scene is filmed in Iraq, where they experienced several delays. This pushed it into July, where the heat index has outrageous temperatures. 9 members of the crew faced heat stroke and dysentery. And dysentery is an infection in the intestines. Another individual was accused and later convicted of killing a woman. They later linked that individual to several other murders. The last horror film with abnormal circumstances is Poltergeist. Strange props were used and cast members died suspiciously. According to Biography.com, JoBeth Williams, who played Mom Diane Freeling in the first 2 films, claimed that director Spielberg insisted on using actual human skeletons as props in an attempt to save money. During that time, it was actually cheaper for individuals to use real skeletons rather than the plastic ones. The main character, Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, died after several misdiagnoses. Doctors didn't really understand what was wrong with the actress, and she later passed away from stomach issues. Dominic Doone, who played Carol Ann's sister, was murdered by her husband. Her husband had reports on him of being obsessive of the actress. He later followed her to her house that night, choked her, and killed her outside their home. Julian Beck, who was the preacher, was diagnosed extremely late with stomach cancer. He couldn't come back from it, so he died shortly after making Poltergeist 2. Will Sampson, who played the shaman, had a heart-lung transplant, which he did not come back from. However, during the production, he tried to perform an exorcism one night after filming. In conclusion, off-screen curses add to the overall scare factor of horror films. We discussed 3 movies that face strange deaths and abnormal circumstances throughout their production: Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, and Poltergeist. These three movies benefited from horrible real-life experiences, which increased audience engagement in the movie storyline. Different experiences throughout movies can add to the overall fear factor when the fear factor has some truth and diversity behind it.